Hello again, welcome back to European Autocraft Studios. I have a little trouble saying that. But we're here with the 1986 944 Turbo Project engine. I still can't get this thing to rotate. We're going to check it again once I get all this stuff off. We have the tool. I could have bought this an aftermarket, kind of cheaper, but I didn't like the look of them. This is the original from Porsche. It's a later design with the roll pins rather than the solid pins, but it will do a great job. Now if I could just see where the engine is. There it is. It's simple, goes right in the holes, take the bolt out, and the pulley should slide off. I'll show you some things about that. 17 millimeter. I don't know how many times these bolts have been on and off, so we're probably going to replace the bolts. The washer's still good, we'll replate that. Wow. The little belt guides are kind of mangled. And look at that's all chewed up. Hopefully I can get nice new ones. If not, we'll get some better used ones and plate them. These are kind of rough. I don't know why they're so rough, but they are very rough. Alright, sometimes these slide right off. Yeah, lucky. Sometimes they don't. As you can see, the two, again, I'm going to show you this when we put it together, but I want to show you again. There are two key slots on this. If you turn the balance shaft, it wants to go back to the top with a keyway at the top. That is where you'll have the timing mark line up. So in order for this timing mark to line up with this notch, we have to use this slot. Even though it's not exactly right on, that's where you want it. So the heavy portion, you're closest with air. If we put it on this one, you can see no matter what we do, that mark is way off. So that's how we know which way the pulley goes on. Closest to the mark, there. And there's your timing mark. Piece of cake. Keyway. Keyway comes out. Alright, so that's the upper balance shaft. And lower. This one's not bent. It looks like it'll be okay. Alright, and that's all I needed that tool for. Go figure. Now will this pulley come off? Yes. Keyway out. And the same thing goes here, see? Now you see that the keyway is up. It's a little stiff, but that's okay. You get the idea. It wants to sit here. And this one, the timing mark is at the bottom. So again, it's pretty easy to see where the correct keyway to use is. So don't be afraid to rip these off and throw them in a pile and go back and put them on. You get them perfect every time. Now my keyway. Key. This is a key, not a keyway. We have an island called Key Wading, but that's not quite the same. You go out there in a boat. Can't go out in a boat on this one. Alright. Now remember, now look at this. The cover, the crankshaft pulley's eating the cover. Don't know why. There's something wrong in there. These two bolts here are the bolts that I had mentioned before that you want to put sealer on because they go right into the oil pump housing, through the oil pump. Let's get these out. Yeah, these have sealer on them. The crankshaft pulley should also come off fairly easily. That's pretty crudted up, so let's try this. We're going to replace this cover anyways. Thank you to Jeff for sending me those amazing parts. You'll be getting a thank you every time I touch anything that you have sent us or related to it. So get used to it. Look at that. Why? Wow, that's interesting. Look at that. Gotta look into that. I'm sure one of you guys may have seen this in the past. I have not. It looked like this was far enough in behind the pulley. Yeah, there's our washer and O-ring. The key is now out. Wow. I thought I was going to have to fight this, but that's good. You can see the washer's in there, the O-ring, and the oil pump drive is in there. That's that little spline piece I showed you before. But what's interesting too is there's a lip here where the washer is actually embedded into the pulley, into the crankshaft pulley. I don't know if you can see that. There's a lip there. Almost like it was loose and it was moving. And the washer was working its way into here. I don't know. Maybe somebody knows out there. Let me know if you've seen this kind of thing before. All right. Well, we'll continue on. We're going to get the drives off. These are the bushings inside of here and the front bearing support, really, for the balance shafts. Interesting stuff. So we're just going to get those off with a 13. If he behaves himself this time, is he charged? Sort of. 13. Supposed to come prepared. This one has the support on the side for the, let's see, that's for the power steering pump. So, oh, there's a bolt missing, so I don't have to worry about that. A lot of stuff is broken, not working properly. They're pretty simple stuff. Whenever I do a timing belt, it's usually if the car hasn't been touched in a long time. I'll take these apart and I'll reseal. Just simple O-rings here. The seal comes out and there's a membrane seal in there as well as a radial seal. You got to watch these. Now, one balance shaft rotates in the opposite direction. If you look here, let me see if I can show you this. There's no arrow on this one. So this might be bidirectional. Some of these seals are bidirectional. They'll seal in either rotation, and some of them only seal in one direction. This seal is a different size, I think. This one is it. Yeah, okay, take a look at this. You can see the arrow. That arrow obviously indicates the direction of rotation that it seals best. And that's counterclockwise, because this balance shaft turns the opposite direction. This one doesn't have an arrow. Oh, wait a minute, there it is. Yes, it does. Look at that. A little tiny arrow up there. That one is a clockwise rotation. So that one will seal best there. These are different diameters. Very difficult to get them mixed up. But you can't just go by size. If you get a seal based on the size, you may get one that only goes clockwise. So probably best to just use the Porsche seal on that one. Little tidbits of knowledge there. Ask me how I know. Okay, that bolt is missing, and there's a gap there. So, is there a spacer missing? Something doesn't look right to me here, but I could be mistaken. We'll see. Okay, that just needs a little bit of help. Yeah, the hole here, that's a a brace to support the back section of this. All you engineers would understand that. I kind of do. But the hole didn't line up. And I don't know why. That hole should have lined up with one of these. Check into that in the future. But same routine, same drive. There's a little membrane seal. There it is. Actually, I can show you that. If you come on over here, I'll show you. This is a seal that you want to replace when you reseal this front end. Well, if you can get a grip on it, my dirty, slippery hands here. Sometimes you get a razor blade behind it and just slide it forward. This prevents oil pressure from leaking past the bearing and out the shaft and getting into the belt compartment. It doesn't usually happen, but they're sealed. They're sealed either way. They used to be O-rings. I don't know if these drives have it. Yeah, if you look inside here, more little tidbits of knowledge. If you look inside there, you can see a groove inside that collar. There used to be an O-ring on there on the 928s, and this is the same design on the 928, on the 8-valve 928 or 16-valve. The O-rings are very difficult to put on. When you slide them on the shaft, it would actually cut the O-ring, and they end up leaking anyways. So they went to the membrane seal on the 944. So now retroactively, I go back and I put these. Here it comes. I'll put these seals on the 928s as well instead of the O-ring. In fact, I'm doing one now for my neighbor here. You'll see that video in the near future. So that's all it is. It's called a membrane seal. Looks like a piece of cellophane to me. Okay, well, call it whatever you want, jack up the price, and there you go. All right. So that's the balance shaft drive and a crank drive, which I still don't understand why that was rubbing. Water pump. We'll get that out of the way. See how many bolts break taking that out. I always replace these bolts too, because you never know who over-tightened them first, or in the past. They get fatigued and then they break off inside the pump. And if you don't get enough thread, then you got to drill it. You can't get it out. It's just a real pain. These are all coming up fairly easy. I don't know if this is original hardware, but we'll find 3 different size bolts, I believe, on this pump. If you're not sure what bolt goes where, the Porsche Pet program is great for that. Sometimes if you're just changing a water pump, you take the bolt out, just put it in the new pump so you know where it goes, or measure it. You can see that some of these holes are deeper than the others, so the bolts will be shorter. Those bolts are shorter. Not by a lot. Let me find one. Well, these are all the same length. I'm going to check my parts book to be sure, but I thought for sure they were different sizes. I think they are, and somebody just changed them. I will verify that. All right. I should check these facts before I do this so I can tell you. Not too bad. What do we have here? Get that out of the way. What do we have here? Well, that's interesting. I believe this engine block has been repaired. And you can see over here where it's been welded, there's little bits of slag in there. Huh. All right. Not sure I like that. Well, there you go. More surprises. All right, well, let's see what could possibly have gone wrong in there. I don't know. So let's get the balance shafts off. One of the differences between the 944 turbo and the non-turbo is this balance shaft housing. This is the oil feed for the turbocharger. You can see there's a hole right here for banjo bolts. It goes right to the turbocharger. And then that goes through the motor mount and drains down into the oil pan. So, 10, 13. We'll start with the big guys. These housings are mated to the engine. So if you had a problem with one, you'd have to change the outer housing. You'd have to rebore it to make sure that it's exactly straight. Running out of room for hardware. It's okay. I'll let my logistics officer take care of that. Kind of been slacking lately. I get stuff everywhere. Now, will this come off easy? No. It will not. It's one more bolt. You guys probably saw that too. Oh boy. Okay. Let's try that again. That helped. I gotta remember that. Take all the bolts out. Guys are probably laughing your butts off. It's okay. And there's our beautiful balance shaft. Porsche came up with the balance shaft design, and it didn't work as well. Oh, you can see the seal. There's a seal for the oil output for the turbocharger. So they came up with a balance shaft design that it worked, but it wasn't that good. They really liked the Mitsubishi one because the Mitsubishi design was the upper and a lower. They run at twice the speed of the engine, twice as fast as the crankshaft to cancel out vibrations. So Porsche pays Mitsubishi, or they did pay Mitsubishi, so much per unit sold. I think it was like $6 or $8 or something like that. So they could use their Mitsubishi designed balance shaft in these engines. Pretty fascinating stuff. A little bit of history there. So the weight part is actually all metal, of course, and then I imagine they used the black plastic cover to make it fully round so it's not slapping into oil, because these things are moving pretty quick. So that's pretty much how that went. No washers. I don't know if there's supposed to be washers there or not. This engine's been apart before. So I don't remember myself doing these. They don't fail very often, so it's unlikely you'd ever really have to go this far unless you're rebuilding the whole engine. Yeah, pretty neat. I believe they're the same part number left and right, but I'm not sure. I will verify. I will verify. Okay, other side. To the lower balance shaft. M4451. Alright, same thing. 13s. I wonder if there's supposed to be a spacer behind this to make that work. The truth will come out. If I don't know it, we'll find out. I think I got them all. Different size bolts, but they're pretty obvious where they go. We'll make sure they get back where they belong. Alright. That's a good spot. I don't want to pry on the surface where the oil cooler sits. Alright, simple. There's even a boss here where there could be another something threaded in there. I wonder. Yeah, it must be cheaper just to machine them, all the same castings, and then only drill the ones you need. Keep production costs down. Huh. Cool stuff. There's 86 date code. These balance shafts are probably the same, but I do want to see if the keyway and everything is exactly the same. The positioning of the key versus the weight, the heavy part. We'll see. Running out of room for tools. Dropping stuff. That's my ammo. What's next here? Oil pump. This is the stud for one of the rollers. $10mm. Yeah, see, these two are where the sealer has to be on the bolts through the cover. You don't want to forget that. It gets messy. It pumps the oil right out of there. I miss anything? Doesn't look it. Oh, look at that. Gentle. The drive's a little stuck on the shaft there. Let's see if we can work that out. Oh, amazing. And I think that penetrator oil was that good. Alright, there's the O-ring seal. There's the drive. The gears are inside, under this plate. We'll take all this apart during the rebuild and take a look at the internal, see how it looks. Jeff also gave us a nice oil pump. So we're going to look into that and see which one's better suited for this car. And I am just really curious what went on up here. It almost looks like, I'll have to clean it, but it looks like it went up into here. It's possible, while this was at the machine shop getting bored, that something fell on it and cracked this, but I don't know. If anybody has any ideas, leave them in the comments. I'd sure like to know. But we'll take a look at that and look at the integrity of this and make sure it's okay. It might be okay. I don't like this crack here, or this area that isn't welded. We'll have to see what we can do with that. Well, that's the balance shaft, oil pump, water pump side. I was hoping to get to measuring the bore and stroke on this. I don't think we're going to be able to do that. I could measure the bore, but I think I'd rather do it together, and we'll check the to see what the actual displacement is. I was told it should be a 2.7 with the stroke and the rebore, but I just don't know yet. We'll have to save that for next week. We got to get this cleaned up too. We're getting closer with our blasting machine. If you come take a look at our compressor, we finally got a good used compressor head for it. So there's a step in the right direction. We have to do a little rewiring in the shop for the phase converter. They want 6-gauge wire. I think we only have 8 going to our outlet. So we'll get that all fixed up and get this machine running. Run all the wiring over to the machine on that side and get it filled up with water and media. We're going to use the silicone stainless steel beads. No, ceramic beads. Ceramic beads. Can't even think straight. And that should give us a nice finish on all these aluminum parts, real small beads. I know I keep talking about it, but I'm dying to get there. We have so much to do and so much money to be spent. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. The like, subscribe. Our subscriber count is going up like crazy, and I really appreciate it. You guys, any comments you can help me with some of the stuff you saw here, especially if you've ever seen this kind of damage before. I have not. Be sure to leave it in the comments. And we'll see you next week. Hopefully next week we'll get the crankshaft out of it after doing our bore and stroke check, so we know what the displacement's going to be. It won't be super accurate because we have dish pistons and things like that, but we're not going to CC those. We're just going to get a rough idea. So that's it. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.